All right, let me start this by saying that Bama is going to be back this year. Now, I know what you all are saying. I can hear you right now. Oh, of course he's saying that. He goes to the University of Alabama. He has to say that, and that's justified. I'll absorb those punches as they come, but I want you all to know that this is something that I really feel internally, and it is backed up by Brian Gregoire level research and due diligence. I can guarantee that. But no, I really dug in and did my homework here. And I also want to put out this disclaimer before I delve into the details of this explanation that this is in no way, shape, or form a national championship prediction. This is just addressing the absurd narrative that emerged in the latter half of the college football season last year after Alabama went 11-2 and lost to LSU and Tennessee, that the Alabama dynasty is dying or is already dead. I'm going to debunk that in this video. And the first fact I'm going to debunk it with is that Alabama's recruiting has not regressed. Recruiting is usually the first indicator of a declining program because players are no longer buying into the regime of the head coach at the program, and that usually becomes a nationwide trend. That has not been the case for Alabama. In fact, Alabama just had one of its best recruiting cycles ever for this incoming 2023 class. 24/7 Sports comes out with a list every year. I like lists. They put things into perspective for me. It's a composite list of the best recruiting cycles for each program, their recruiting rankings for the cycle. You know what Alabama was ranked on that list? Yeah, not number 5, not number 3, not even number 2. They were ranked number 1 on that list, and it wasn't close. 24/7 Sports gives each program a composite score on that list. There's several factors that go into it. How many recruits they have, what level they are, 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, the volume. Alabama's score on that list was 327.65. The second closest on that list, of course, Georgia, a program that I respect very deeply, with a score of 315.68. That's a 12-point difference. On that list, if you look at the margins on that list, that is a massive difference. That's like being 3 seconds behind in a NASCAR race in Richmond. Breaking down that class. The class is composed of 9 5-star recruits and 18 4-star recruits. That is massive, and I know the argument out there, just because there's stars next to a player's name does not necessarily guarantee that they're going to translate on the football field, and that's very true, but it's also a very good sample size. When you have 27 players combined that are either 5 or 4-star, that's elite talent, and I can guarantee you that there are going to be some players on that list that make an immediate impact this year, and if not, they will in years to come. So the dynasty is not dead. It's not dying because Alabama continues to reload from a recruiting standpoint. Some of the players in this class I researched too, and they're exceptional. Safety, Caleb Downs. Offensive tackle, Caden Proctor. Running back, Justice Haynes. These players are absolutely remarkable, and they're going to make contributions to this program. If not this year, definitely the following year. Number 2, I got to address this. Talented players last year were not put in the best positions to succeed last year. There was another narrative that emerged late in the season last year, and this is one that I really rallied against. That Alabama doesn't have good receivers. Their receivers are lackluster. Don't give me that. Don't even give me that. I'm not going to buy it. Ja'Cory Brooks was a 5-star recruit. Kobe Prentice was a 4-star recruit. Isaiah Bond was a 4-star recruit. These are players that have massive potential. It was just not tapped into last year. Also, I must add, those players had limited playing time, if any, in 2021. That is requisite for success here at Alabama. Ja'Cory Brooks started to pop off a bit more later in the 2021 season. But when you look at players of the names of Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle and Jerry Jeudy, they had been on this roster for years. In their freshman years, they didn't even start. Why? Because at the University of Alabama, it's about the process. You stick with the process and you blossom. Those players are returning and they're going to start to really blossom, flourish, and come into their own this year, because that's what happens. There's also new leadership on this team from an offensive and defensive standpoint. And to supplement that, Saban even said this the other day, there are bigger bodies on the offensive line this year. If you watched the NFL playoffs last year, you would know that that was probably one of the most integral components to any team winning any game in it. Go look at that Buffalo-Cincinnati game. Cincinnati won that game in Buffalo, in the snow, in Buffalo's element, in the trenches. Why? Because they had an offensive line. They won that game in the trenches. Alabama, at times last year, struggled to do that. Bryce Young had 12 dropbacks. There was pressure on 12 dropbacks in the Texas game last year. That's an issue. The root of any problem in football. It all starts on offense. It all starts at that O-line. That O-line gets out of balance, and the quarterback's getting pressured. The quarterback gets flustered. Then he's on the same page with his receivers. You can't get the running game established. Anytime you have bigger, more skilled bodies on the offensive line, that's going to lead to more success. Now, something building off of last year as well, comparing the outlook of this season to what last season was. The schedule is much more favorable this year. I'm not going to lie. I looked at that schedule last year, and, being an Alabama student, I'm somebody, I like to be optimistic. But I looked at that schedule last year, I'm not going to lie, in June, July, and August, I was shaking in my boots. Because I saw that there was a stretch where Alabama has to play Arkansas on the road, Texas A&M at home, go up to Neylands, host Mississippi State, go to Baton Rouge, go to Oxford. That is treacherous. This year, that's not the case. All those teams will be playing Alabama at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Texas will be playing here. Ole Miss will be playing here. Arkansas will be playing here. LSU will be playing here. And yes, Tennessee will be playing here. That's a huge break. Scheduling is a break for any team in any sport. If you can get your most challenging games at home, teams put themselves in indisputably a much better position. Lastly, and I'm going to readdress this here, whenever that Bama dynasty is dead narrative emerges, Alabama suddenly gets better. 2015. You know who was predicted to win the SEC West in 2015? Auburn. Alabama was supposed to fall off a cliff. They didn't know who the quarterback was, foreshadowing to this year. You know who won the national championship 2015 going into 2016? Oh, yeah. Alabama. 2020. LSU just got off a national championship. Not a great image for Alabama as an SEC West rival. Won the national championship. That narrative reemerged. I don't even have to say what happened in 2020 because you all know what happened. Alabama ran the table from the first game against Missouri to the final national championship game against Ohio State. I have an internal feeling that's what's going to happen this year. But again, I don't have this crystal ball that I can look into and tell you exactly what's going to happen. This is just what my research and my internal superstition intuition tells me. And there's an argument out there that I'm going to acknowledge, and I'm going to say once again, it's justified. There's questions about the quarterback position. Alabama doesn't even know who the starting quarterback is going to be right now. Is it going to be Jalen Milroe? Is it going to be Ty Simpson? That's a question mark. It's not a question mark that you'd love to have, but it's a thing here that I will acknowledge. But I will say there's also questions about the quarterback position in 2015 as well. Jay Coker eventually became the quarterback that led Alabama to the national championship and won that game against Clemson that year. Alabama has the foundation. Alabama has the skilled players, and they have the leadership to be very competitive this year. Again, is this a national championship prediction? No. But the ingredients are there. It just comes down to executing the right recipe to bring the most out of those ingredients. And you got to season the sauce a little bit too, if you know what I mean. But hasn't that been done down here in Alabama in past years? I mean, answer that. It certainly has. And I feel like either of those quarterbacks is competent enough to ensure that happens. So have no fear. For Bama, we'll be back this year. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you and the time that you took out of your day to watch the video. And if you enjoyed it, please be sure to like the video and share it, as well as subscribe to The Era. The more likes and subscribers I get on this channel, the more resources I can attain, and the more resources I can attain, the more value I can provide to you, the viewer. And that is how I show my appreciation for you for the time that you devote to watching my videos. So thank you so much, and have a great day.